Culture and susceptibility, also called culture and sensitivity, is a method to find out just exactly what antibiotic will be the best to use on your patient. Now, I will warn you that you're not going to wait until the culture comes back if someone has a brain abscess. You're just going to treat them. But you go ahead and do the culture so that you know what to treat, what is the best treatment. Okay, first we're going to assume that we've gone on and grown some bacteria, just like we've talked about in other things. We've spread a culture out, and you see two organisms here. Well, uh, a big one and a little one. We know these are different species. Well, we'll just assume that we have only one, because I didn't notice it had the pink ones when I put it on here. So we're going to take a loop. First, we're going to flame this loop so that it's very, very hot. And then you got to put it on a place on that plate that was clean so that you don't kill your bacteria you touch. It'll sizzle just a bit. Let the heat go. Then you're going to pick up your little piece of bacteria. See here, you could have put it right here and it'd have sizzled. There's nothing there. Then you're going to pick up your little piece of bacteria, and just one little piece is all you need. Then, I know this is blue, but it's the color I came up with in a hurry. You're going to spread that bacteria all across this plate. You could even dilute it with sterile saline if you needed to, if it's real chunky, to be sure you get it spread across your agar, completely spread out. Next, we have these antibiotic discs. Now, they make these special little guns that you put them in for each type of antibiotic, or you can get a little gun that's the size of that will put multiple antibiotics into the size, something the size of a petri dish. In my lab, we put these into a carefully cut it open and put them into a sterile petri dish, and then use sterile tongs to take them out with, because the little gadgets that you shoot them out with were $250 a piece, $250 a piece. I needed about 8, and they didn't have the budget, so either way works. Okay, this was something we did in my lab, and I don't know what this is that we grew, but it really grew. Now, I can't read what is on this particular thing, so I wrote, I can't read this beside it. But I think it was probably, no, it wasn't penicillin. Whatever it was, it didn't work. Now look at these organisms. Penicillin did a pretty good job of killing this organism. Tetracycline, it had a good widespread over here, but look at this. You've got tetracycline, you've got bacteria growing next to the tetracycline. Over here, chloramphenicol, it just did a fantastic job. Let's look at one more. Here we have a different set that grew, and bacteria grew somewhat on everything. Penicillin, Septra, even a little bit next to the chloramphenicol. I'm suspecting that the student who handled this left this in the incubator too long, because see how the agar's cracking. But when you decide what you're going to use, you're going to say which antibiotic will work. If chloramphenicol is the only thing that will work, it is a very unsafe antibiotic. So can the patient do okay without antibiotics? Let's say tetracycline will work, but it's not going to get to the place it's needed. Or penicillin will work, but penicillin won't cross the blood-brain barrier, and you have a high rate of allergy. And always find out if the patient is allergic to an antibiotic. Read this label yourself, and if the prescribing doctor says to give them penicillin, and you read they're allergic to it, you go to that doctor and say, look, they're allergic to this. Can you look at this record for me? And absolutely do not give a shot that's going to kill your patient. So in this order, is it safe? Is it going to get to the place? Some things won't cross the blood-brain barrier. Some things won't get to bone very well. Tetracyclines actually do get to bone very well. And then some just don't work. And that's why we do the culture and susceptibility or sensitivity. I like to say culture and sensitivity because that's the way I was taught. But either way is fine. Just CNS, you know you're in good shape. But it will give you an absolute knowledge of what you need to use on your patient.